Do you not just bone saw once in a while?
No, I never bone saw.
You need to bone saw once in a while.
I'll keep that in mind.
Just a little Macho Man Randy Savage from Spider-Man 1.
Bonesaw is ready! What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of MCUEx. This is the second episode that's going up this week. This one's going up today.
Today?
Today, yes. The other one went up on a different today, so hopefully you've already watched that. But if not, go back and watch that for our reactions and discussions to the Guardians of the Galaxy and Spider-Man Homecoming trailers.
Definitely watch that one today.
Watch it today, and watch this one today. We have been missing some news recently, guys. So here's a little behind-the-scenes action. About 2 weeks ago, Nick and I... By the way, I'm Doug Herring.
I'm Nick Fox.
And about 2 weeks ago, we recorded an episode, but the audio was so terrible that we decided we had to scrap it. So if you're wondering, when are we going to talk about the Inhumans TV show, the answer is a couple weeks ago, but you can't see it. So we have about a month's worth of news to talk about.
Yes.
And we're going to fit just a couple of the biggest stories into this week's episode. So yes, very exciting. We'll talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. mid-season finale. We'll talk a little bit about Inhumans. It's all good. So yeah, with that being said, Nick, let's get started.
Let us get started. And as always, I'm going to take the Spider-Man news.
Of course.
And we got some really interesting Spider-Man news, actually. Especially because we still haven't seen Spider-Man Homecoming.
Right.
We've seen a trailer for it.
We have.
We've seen some interesting Instagram photos, but we have a release date for the sequel.
Yes.
It is July 5th, 2019.
Which is, by the way, 1 week before the original Inhumans movie date.
Yes.
That was originally announced for July 12th. Actually, I think it was originally announced for November 2019. And then when Ant-Man and the Wasp got at it, it got shuffled around to July. Anyway,
I'll take your word on that.
It's not
if
on
anyone
any
wants
date
to correct
now.
him, put it in the comments.
It's not on any date now. It is now July. It's now a TV show, and this is now July 5th,
Yes.
2019. Not really a surprise to me.
It's not a surprise. What is surprising is Marvel is usually better about not announcing sequels until we've seen the actual film.
That's true.
And I think this is very much a Sony move.
I agree, because remember, the way the Sony and the Marvel deal works is that the character can appear in Avengers movies.
Correct.
Avengers characters can appear in Spider-Man movies. But Sony gets all the money from Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
And Marvel gets all the money from Avengers movies, even if Spider-Man shows up. So it makes sense to me that usually Marvel puts between 2 and 3 years, closer to 3 now, between sequels.
We're not in Iron Man 1 and 2 era anymore.
Right. This one's only 2 years, but that makes sense because it's a different studio. They want to make money off of their character, so it makes sense that they would demand closer together release dates.
It's just still surprising that there is not some clause that Marvel can enact to say, you can't do this, you can't announce this yet, we haven't even discussed sequel, we haven't discussed where the character is going in the MCU. You know, just hold back. Just some sort of maybe, gag order to prevent them from just saying when it's going to be. Even if privately
I'm sure they
could
have. I'm sure they could have. But I think with the reaction to the trailer, the reaction to Tom Holland in Civil War, I think they're confident as well. And this is not the first time, by the way, that we've gotten a sequel announcement before the movie. It's the first time we've gotten one this far out.
Right.
But we got a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 confirmation at San Diego Comic-Con a few weeks before Guardians 1 came out.
Right. And by that point, they had sent it to test audiences.
Right,
They had some really good feedback on what people were looking at it for. We're still far out. As anybody who watched our previous episode knows, I am still hesitant. I am not sure how I feel about this. Spider-Man is my favorite hero. I'm hoping they do it justice. I hope he earns this sequel. I'm not sure if we're at that point yet. And I just wish that they had held back a little bit, especially because we don't even have like a cool title to announce. I think it was Deadline.
Right. It was announced as Spider-Man Homecoming 2, which will not be the final title.
The Homecoming.
Homecoming. Do you have any predictions or hopes for the title?
I don't. I hope it's another title that has multiple meanings, though. Like Graduation. Spider-Man Graduation.
The one that I like, which is, I think, one that was registered when Sony was originally registering domains for Homecoming. They registered like 4. One of them, which I really liked, was Spider-Man Suspended.
Oh, I like the double meaning.
That has double meanings,
yeah,
right.
Okay.
I also would like Spider-Man Senior Year, because he would be a senior in high school in 2019. He's a sophomore in Homecoming. Mm-hmm. In Infinity War, he'll be a junior. A senior in Homecoming 2.
Really interesting yearbook he has.
Yes.
Just 1 year forgets to take the mask off for his picture. Just sitting there like, oh no. Yeah, I hope that, I have a bigger hope, and it's something that we've talked about before. I hope we get Iron Spider. And I think it's really realistic that we will.
I think we will. And
especially
we talked about this last episode. I think we'll get it. I think they're building to that. I don't think we'll see it in Homecoming.
No.
But maybe for the sequel or for Infinity War, we could see it then.
I really think in order for Spider-Man to be able to stand up to somebody like Thanos.
Yeah, he needs some serious upgrades.
As strong as Spider-Man is,
right? He's
still human. He still bruises. He still gets injured. He needs something to protect him, and an iron suit is the perfect way of doing that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So speaking of sequels, that are announced,
this is my segue. I was going to do.
All right. Yes, this is a little surprising to me though, because this is now with Captain Marvel and Avengers 4. Mm-hmm. This is the 3rd Marvel movie to come out in 2019. Now, I was expecting that Doctor Strange 2 would be announced to be released in around November of 2019.
And that makes sense given the spacing they've been doing on previous movies.
Right. That would match up with the spacing between Ant-Man and the Wasp, for example.
Ant-Man squared and the Wasp.
So either we're not getting a Doctor Strange sequel, we're not getting one until at least 2020, or we're getting 4 Marvel movies in 2019. Which do you think of those as most likely?
Not the 4 Marvel movies. Not the 4 Marvel movies. Not the 4 Marvel movies. As much as I love Marvel, there are already too many headlines claiming superhero fatigue. This is going to be the one that fails.
Right.
And I think the public's hunger for these movies is much greater when there is a bit of a lull.
I agree with you.
Or after we get some bad ones.
Or after we get some bad ones, right. And again, we also have TV.
Right.
The TV stuff will still be going by that time.
Yeah, and all the Netflix and all that fun stuff.
Right.
I'm not quite ready for more Spider-Man Homecoming news or Spider-Man 2 Homecoming news.
Right.
The Homecoming news. What I am ready for is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Absolutely, yes.
You could even say that Bonesaw is ready. To reference one of my favorite Spider-Man moments.
Right, yes, that would be from the Raimi movie.
Yes. Little Macho Man Randy Savage action.
Bonesaw is ready!
It's a great scene.
Truly the best Spider-Man villain. Bonesaw.
Bruce Campbell is the best Spider-Man villain.
Right, as Mysterio.
Yes.
A series of unrelated cameos.
For those who don't know, there is a fan theory that says that all of Bruce Campbell's roles in all 3 of the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were actually one villain, Mysterio. So first he is an announcer at a wrestling match.
Right.
Then he is a...
Isn't he a waiter or a maitre d'?
Maitre d' in the 3rd one. He works at the theater and keeps Peter Parker from coming in late to Mary Jane's show. So in the 1st one, he named Spider-Man. In the 2nd one, he defeats Spider-Man. In the 3rd, he's like supporting Spider-Man. There was a fan theory that he was in fact Mysterio, and that if Sam Raimi got a 4th, they would reveal that. It's sort of very similar to the Stan Lee.
Right. Uatu the Watcher.
Right.
Yeah.
I hope both of those are true. In my head,
that would be nice.
Both are true.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much on the same page though with this news. It feels a little early, but I don't think either one of us are surprised.
And I think if you're going to have a sequel, that would be about the right time to have it.
Agreed, because it's Sony and because they can't space it quite as much as they might want to, because another studio wants to make money off of their most profitable property.
And I want them to make money off of it too.
Me too. Plus, it also, the closer together they are, the more time we get to see with Peter in high school.
True.
3 years between movies would mean we get one with him in high school, and then he's a freshman in college the next time we see a movie.
I mean, Tobey Maguire was, 65 when he was
something
to be a college
that,
student?
Yeah.
I'm okay with them fudging the numbers a little bit on his age.
On his age, yeah, but that would mess with the continuity, because when does it take place?
Yeah,
It needs to take place contemporarily.
That's fair. That's fair. But, yeah, Sony, clean up your act. Figure out what you're doing first. Release a movie, then tell us when the sequel is. We can wait. We're patient. We trust that you're making a sequel at some point.
We're not that patient. But fair enough. So speaking of Inhumans, which, like we said, Spider-Man Homecoming 2 taking a date very close to the original Inhumans date, we are now getting Inhumans in 2017 on our TVs. Like I said, this is kind of old news by now.
On our TVs.
Yes. Specifically, mine and Nick's TV will get TVs. We'll get different episodes of the Inhumans. So he'll get the first 4, I'll get the second 4.
It's a good plan we have.
Yeah. No, this is old news by now, but like I said, we talked about it in an episode that we couldn't upload. Inhumans is getting an 8-episode TV series co-financed by IMAX.
Yes.
First 2 episodes are going to be in IMAX theaters for 2 weeks, and then it'll start airing on ABC on Tuesdays. We don't know what that means for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D's renewal.
It could mean a lot of things. I mean, it could just be a good lead-in.
It could be a lead-in. It could be a replacement. It could be something different. We don't know.
Maybe it'll fit in breaks that they have planned. Maybe they're going to do smaller chunks of season. A lot of shows are going to a shorter format.
That's true. I wouldn't mind Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. going to a slightly shorter format, like a 13-episode format, yeah.
And then you're going to have larger gaps in your season to fill in. I wouldn't mind if that's what they used.
Yeah. But so the Inhumans TV show, very exciting.
Yeah.
8 episodes. I think it's going to be kind of their attempt to do a Game of Thrones style event level television, which networks really haven't had since Lost?
Yeah,
24?
if that. Yeah, and we might privately upload our Lost episode at some point so people can see our full discussion.
our full discussion in its horrible audio quality.
Because it's hard to remember what we've discussed and what we haven't.
Right.
But talking about event level television, I know we discussed in that we really haven't had any scripted event television in a really long time.
It's been reality shows on network TV.
Yes, absolutely.
On cable and on subscription services or HBO, stuff like that, we're still getting the Game of Thrones, Westworld, Netflix stuff. Pretty much anytime they put out a new show, it's an event.
Anybody who likes Westworld, just comment, please. So I have people to talk to.
We love Westworld.
Yeah, please put all your theories for season 2 below to keep me entertained for the next 2 years while I wait for season 2.
Sure, why not? Do that.
Yeah. So I think that the interesting thing about this is the IMAX component first.
Yes. Because that means higher budget.
Higher budget, and the most similar thing I can think of was the Doctor Who 50th anniversary, which aired in theaters and on TV. It premiered first in theaters.
Or the Sherlock Christmas special.
Did that go in theaters
first? It did. It was like one of those Fathom event things, but yeah, it did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I remember watching the Doctor Who 50th in theaters, in 3D, and then coming back, and I think it was a week later, that you could then watch it on TV.
Right.
And the way that actually got more people excited for it was very interesting, and I will love to see how that halo effect works here.
I really hope it does, and if they put it Tuesdays at 9 as a lead-in to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., that might help Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s ratings.
And if you're bumping Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to 10... Is it? Wait.
It's already at 10.
Is it? Oh, that's right. They bumped it this season?
Yeah.
We're going to get more into this later.
We'll talk a lot about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. later on.
Yeah, I think it needs to stay later in order to go in the right direction. Whether or not they're going there, I don't actually know, and we'll get into that later. But... yeah, this Inhumans thing is very interesting, but there is a big piece of news that we're missing here.
There's news on this, yes. We haven't heard about casting yet, but we have heard about the showrunner. For anybody who doesn't know, the showrunner is one of the most important people on a TV show. They're kind of the equivalent to a director of a movie.
They create the look, the feel, the vibe, the emotion, the style.
Because even though each episode might have a different director, it still needs to feel like it's part of the same thing. That's the showrunner's job. So the showrunner for the Inhumans was just announced, and it's a familiar name. It's Scott Buck, who is the showrunner for Iron Fist.
Which, considering we've only seen, 2 minutes of footage from Iron Fist?
If that, yeah.
I mean, we have seen, 5 minutes?
Right, because we saw some scenes at New York Comic Con, but...
this is a lot of faith that they're putting into an unproven director here.
Very, very
unproven.
Or
an unproven showrunner.
Because other than Iron Fist, the last thing Scott Buck did was the last 3 seasons of Dexter, which that show started out well, did not end very well, and its last 3 seasons are really, really terrible.
Spoilers, just watch the first 2 seasons.
4. The first 4 seasons. I would say the end of season 4 with that big twist at the end. Just treat that.
Is that John Lithgow's season?
It is. Yeah.
Okay.
Season 4 is John Lithgow's
I'm not even
season.
going to say any more than that, but okay, I'll accept up to season 4.
If you haven't watched Dexter, it's really great for 4 seasons.
1 and 2, very strong. 3, 4, great.
My thoughts exactly.
Yeah.
And then 5, bad. 6, really bad. 7, okay. 8, garbage fire.
But Tom Hanks' son was in there at some point.
Yep. Anyway, so yeah, he ran some of the worst seasons of Dexter, but clearly, if Marvel's picking him to do a second show, they really like what he did on Iron Fist. So this makes me excited for March.
Especially considering his obligation for Iron Fist is not going to go away. You know, he's still got to be planning another season. You know they're already planning that right now.
I'm sure.
And if not, he at least has to be involved in some capacity on the Defenders.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he is. Although Daredevil did change showrunners between seasons 1 and 2. It's possible Iron Fist could do the same if Scott Buck moves exclusively to do more Inhuman stuff.
Yeah.
But, it's an interesting choice, and it's one that I have trouble talking too much about because I don't know Scott Buck other than Dexter.
I was about to say, because it makes you too emotional?
It does,
Little verklempt? Outside of those 3 seasons of Dexter, I really don't know. Do we know anything else that he did?
Off the top of my head, I don't.
Let's see. Let's use these magic computer boxes we have.
Look it up.
Scott Buck, spelled like I think it is?
It is. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. But I think...
Okay.
Oh,
interesting. No, real interesting. He's written for several television series, including HBO's 6 Feet Under.
Okay.
Rome.
Okay.
Dexter.
Okay.
Everybody Loves Raymond.
Interesting.
Coach.
All right.
Craig T. Nelson's best work. I think his only work, probably. And The Oblongs.
Okay.
Which is...
That's an eclectic grouping of shows.
Yeah. So, he's written a good number of Dexter episodes, 2 Rome episodes, about 8 or 9 6 Feet Under episodes. So, he's definitely got an interesting bit of work. I love The Oblongs. I hear great things about Rome and 6 Feet Under.
Rome is great. I have not seen 6 Feet Under.
So, you know what?
I'm sold.
Yeah, I'm sold. Do your stuff, Scott Buck. Make the Inhumans great again.
Okay, let's get away from that. Get away from that catchphrase. But yes, I agree with the sentiment.
Yeah. Moving on
to more developments in Marvel TV. So at the very end of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season finale, which we will be talking about, mid-season finale, there was a special announcement that we are getting a Slingshot series. In fact, depending on when we release this, the Slingshot series might be available now. It is a digital web series released on ABC's app and ABC's website.
Yes. Releasing
all at once on December 13th. 6 episodes, 3 to 6 minute each. So it's about 30 minutes of footage. So it's like 1 episode of television.
Yeah.
And it is a prequel to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4 about a secret mission that Yo-Yo goes on. So that's interesting.
Yeah, and I have almost nothing to contribute to this conversation.
No, you don't. So I'll talk a little bit about this, and then we'll get into why you have nothing to contribute.
This will make a good segue for this.
Yes. So I'm excited about this. The CW, in their Arrowverse, they did something similar to this. They did a Vixen miniseries.
Oh, did they?
It was animated.
Oh, okay.
It was on CW Seed, which is their online...
It's an awful name.
It's a terrible name. I actually think they might have dropped it.
That sounds like something that they were sitting around a boardroom and they're like,
right.
What should we call this? Well, it's a seed of something bigger. CW Seed.
Right. So they did like season 1, which was 5 episodes of about 5 minutes each. And it was okay. It was fine. But it was an interesting format. And I think this kind of reminds me of a one-shot.
Yeah. In terms of what it's hoping to accomplish, where, a funny thing happened on the way to Thor's Hammer is probably the closest thing that I can think of.
Or maybe the Agent Carter one-shot.
Well, I'm just talking in terms of we already have something established and we're going as a prequel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because everything else seems to follow from something else.
Yeah.
I think that's off the top of my head, that's the only prequel one-shot we have.
I think so. So yeah, this is interesting. And hopefully it opens up opportunities for more.
I would love for them to be doing more with the online content. When they first came up with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I was a big proponent of them doing a web series.
Yeah.
And in fact, what's really funny is my idea was called Interns of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right. And now Screen Junkies has...
Interns of Field.
Right.
I just thought, especially with the voice and the style of Season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a little lighter, a little rompier.
Yeah.
I thought that it would make a perfect thing to see, what someone with a level 0 security clearance would get up to.
Right.
And that makes a perfect 5-minute, fly-on-the-wall, documentary-style web series. Do it like The Office, but you have interns at S.H.I.E.L.D. with, who have to do the paperwork and do copies of all the reports that have to be filed after an event. So the Chitauri invasion has a lot of paperwork associated with it, and these guys have to collate it all.
Well, hopefully this will be a little bit more exciting than that.
What's more exciting than collating, Doug?
Oh, who knows? But and hopefully we could see other minor characters, fan favorite characters, get their own short series.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'd like to see, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shotgun acts with Mac, or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Fitz and Simmons moving in together. Whatever it is.
Call it bunk beds.
Sure.
Gotta come up with a good title for these. I mean, look, Slingshot is a great name.
Slingshot's great. Quake. What was Daisy doing while she was a vigilante? All these things are perfect things for web series, so yeah, it's exciting to me.
Yeah, small, discrete ideas that you can explore in a quick way.
Yeah, and there's not that much we can say about it. We will say more when we watch it, and it might be out now. Well, if I'm gonna watch it, Nick, you might not, and let's go ahead and get into that because I feel like we've talked about everything we can for Slingshot. So
this is the big one. This is my confession time, really.
Well, I think it's all of our confession times, because we pay attention to what fans want to see, and so you might have noticed we don't talk very much about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on MCUEx anymore. We used to actually when MCUEx first started, we would devote the last 10 minutes or so to every episode. To talking about the most recent episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And that makes sense. It's a regular event in the MCU.
We don't do that anymore. Why? Because nobody really seemed to care.
It vanished and no one was like, hey, what about that S.H.I.E.L.D. segment
we tested
you had?
not doing it for a few weeks. Nobody complained. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is doing fine with the ratings, but really not that fine.
No.
They're not doing well. They're on the bubble to get renewed again. People are predicting it'll probably be its last season. In terms of quality, I don't get it because I think it's only gone up. I think this has been its best season. But it is the least loved corner of the MCU.
And I am part of the problem.
You are. You have become part of the problem. Now, interesting fact about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I did not watch it for the first half of the first season. I watched the first few episodes, decided it wasn't for me, and didn't watch it. Nick, you are the one that convinced me to watch it.
There was a big moment, or I started seeing things trending up on the second half.
When the Tahiti reveal started uncovering itself, right.
And I was like, Doug, you have to watch this. Things are getting really good. I know it was really slow, but they need to establish character, blah, 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 blah.
And I did start watching it, and I never looked back. So now, Nick, I'm going to do the same thing for you, because it has come to my attention, you have stopped watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, so the last episode I watched was that episode 3?
It was episode 4, I think, at Comic-Con.
Episode 4, the power outage episode.
Right.
That is the last episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that I saw. I have not kept up on news. I have not read spoilers. I have not even been a little bit curious what is happening in the show. I'm just worn out on the show. Last season with Lash really tested me. And
I agree. Lash was not handled very well last season. I completely agree with you there.
It was so tacked on, so lazily done. What, in retrospect, it reminds me of is the resolution to the movie Signs.
Okay.
Where the kid suddenly has an asthma attack, so he can't breathe in all the gases, and everything has a purpose magically all of a sudden. All this water that's been around the house.
Right.
That's what Lash felt like at the end, where it was tacked on like everybody has a purpose.
Okay.
Every Inhuman gets their powers for a reason, and it was just sort of like, oh, by the way, Lash is a monster, so here's his purpose?
So I don't disagree with you. I agree Season 3 had some real problems, but we're now in Season 4.
And it wasn't moving quick enough for me.
Okay, so... And the reason we're doing this here instead of privately is because I'm sure that, Nick, you are not the only one.
Yeah.
You are not the only one who's given up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm sure you're not the only one who just doesn't watch it. People might have never given it a try.
This is an intervention, really, for myself and for everybody
and for you.
else.
So what I'm going to now do is I'm going to talk a little bit about why, if you haven't given Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a chance, you should. And if you've given up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you should give it another shot.
Warning, I have given permission for Doug to spoil the hell out of this.
Yes. So if you want to avoid spoilers, if you're not caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you might not want to watch it. But if you are...
Right, don't watch this today.
Don't watch it today. Watch it another today. If you aren't caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. but still want to hear what I have to say but care about spoilers, I'll stick to spoiler-free for just the first 2 or 3 minutes. I'll warn you again before I get into spoiler territory.
But do not hold back once you get into
Once
it.
I get into spoiler
need to know what
territory,
I'm missing.
I'll tell you everything.
Yes.
But my elevator pitch for watching this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they have done something very interesting, which is they seem to be branding each half season with a different subtitle. So this half season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was called, in all the marketing material, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider.
Yes.
And so every single story that was told, even if it didn't at first appear to tie into Ghost Rider, by the end it did.
Okay.
Except for one, with Ada. The next half of the season is called Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. LMD.
Okay.
It has a subtitle.
Okay.
And I think one of the biggest problems of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3 is that it was so unfocused and it took so long for things we got Lash in the first episode. It wasn't resolved until like the 16th, but there were about 10 episodes in between where he just didn't show up. Everything was so disjointed. They were trying to do so much.
Yeah.
Whereas what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done this season is they focused it more. They focused entirely on one story that they're going to wrap up in half a season, and then next half season is going to be a new, different story. So right off the bat, from there, I think that is encouraging because that solves one of my biggest problems that I had with Season 3.
And Season 3 is just the worst culprit here of the seasons.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
I'll give it credit for ambition. It definitely tried to have a theme that paid off at the end, but it was just forgotten about for so long.
It was,
that
yeah.
by the time it paid off, it really didn't have any power anymore.
I agree. And so Season 4 fixes that problem.
Okay.
I'll also say, Ghost Rider. I was real trepidatious about Ghost Rider showing up in the MCU through Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't think that was the best place for him. But Robbie Reyes on this show, not quite what he's like in the comics, but the perfect MCU Ghost Rider.
Huh.
Totally in love with, what's his last name? Well, anyway.
That guy.
That guy's performance as him. It's on the lower third now, and I'm an idiot for forgetting it right now.
Thanks, lower third.
Don't correct me in the comments. Lower third had it taken care of, but I feel very
It's
dumb
right
for
here,
forgetting.
right now,
Right.
still.
Diego Luna? Is that his name? I think it is, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter, but I'm not going to remember it. So, moving on. He's fantastic.
Yeah. It's Nicolas Cage. That's it.
That's it. We get really deep into the Ghost Rider mythology. The story is resolved in a very cool way. The effects are better than they've ever been on the show, especially the Ghost Rider effects.
Do they get better throughout the season? Because I've only been up to 4, and they were pretty
Have you
good.
seen the episode where he fights... and, okay, we'll go ahead and start getting to spoiler territory
We
now.
sort of have to.
Have you seen the episode where he fights Hellfire yet?
No. Not that I think. I don't think so.
Okay.
I'm at the point where I don't even remember what I've seen. Like, if I go back and watch this, I will have to start from the beginning of the season.
Okay, great. I recommend you do so. And
Okay.
I actually think binging this half of the season is the way to go. Because I will agree, it does move a little bit slowly near the beginning.
Okay.
The time it takes for Robbie Reyes and Daisy to join the team,
Stop being vigilante.
to stop being
rebels.
vigilantes, stop disagreeing with each other, to stop running from S.H.I.E.L.D. Once they actually get on the jet with Coulson and Fitzsimmons and all them, once everybody's back together, that's when it starts speeding up.
Okay.
So now let's get into spoiler territories. You're saying you don't want to watch it.
Nope.
Okay.
I have no... I have about as much desire to watch it as I do Designated Survivor, which is another show I started this season and really lost me real quick. That show, great premise, and then suddenly just nothing happens. Everything
So let's
is just
talk about the
drama for
winter
sake of it.
finale then of Agents
Sure.
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Go right to the end.
The big reveal at the very end of the episode is what we'll talk about first. May is an LMD.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. So Ada.
Wait, the whole time?
No.
Okay, I was like,
at some point, relatively recently, we don't know exactly when. Ada has knocked May out, put her in a closet.
so since she got ghost eyes, which is like the last thing I saw with her.
Either around then or shortly after then,
Okay.
yes. But yes, after she got ghost eyes, and after Ada saved her life, at some point, for some reason, Ada decided it would be better to knock her out, keep her in a closet, and replace her with an LMD.
Classic Ada.
Nobody on the team knows. Of course, Coulson and May drink that old bottle of whiskey or whatever that they'd been saving for the mission, and they always kept putting it off because they were waiting for a better time. Coulson says there's no better time. They're going to share this moment together. Really important. They've never been closer, and it's not even the real May.
It's a good LMD, though.
It's a great LMD. That's the end of the episode.
That's it? That's where it's left?
That's the very end of the episode.
How do they reveal it?
So
It's just like, does her face fall off and it's robotics?
No, so director Mace... Oh, no, nobody knows yet. So director Mace knows about Ada.
Okay.
They used her on the final mission where they go take down Eli Morrow, who now is using the Darkhold to basically become a god.
Okay. Man, a lot of things have happened.
A lot of things happened, right. You've missed a lot.
Who'd have thunk? What is it, 8 episodes I've missed or something?
So they're going to take down Eli Morrow, and the team is Daisy, Ghost Rider, Slingshot, Ada...
Yo-Yo.
Huh?
Or does she go by Slingshot now?
I don't know if she's actually been called Slingshot, but she goes by Yo-Yo. Director Mace suits up.
Okay.
And looks badass. Coulson, you got everybody. And they even do a scene just like the Quicksilver scene in Days of Future Past. Or in...
With Yo-Yo?
With Yo-Yo, yeah. Is that Days of Future... Yeah, that's Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past has it as well as...
Apocalypse.
But
Days of Future Past is better, in my opinion. And...
you can disagree with him in the comments.
They do one just like that, and it's great. They take down Morrow. Ghost Rider is gone. Ghost Rider has been dragged into hell, apparently.
These things happen when you're Ghost Rider?
Or another dimension, or somewhere. He takes Morrow with him. We haven't seen the last of him, I'm sure, but he's gone for now. Daisy's back on the team.
He better not be on a planet with no sun.
Oh, God. And so Mace knows about Ada. He's decided to use her for this one mission, but then wipe her memories or shut her down or whatever.
Okay.
But at the end of the mission, she gets shot. She sacrifices herself to save Fitz and Simmons, which is what she's designed to do. So Mace decides she can stay, but what's his name? The Doctor. Why am I bad with names tonight? Doesn't matter. Radcliffe. Dr. Radcliffe.
Okay.
Dr. Radcliffe
Horrible.
has to work on her at the S.H.I.E.L.D. facility. So he sends another agent to collect her. And when he gets there, Ada kills him.
But I don't think she's allowed to do that.
She's not allowed to do that, but she does anyway. So she kills him. She goes to stuff his body in a closet, and as she opens it, you see Agent May's body.
Okay.
And then it cuts to Agent May.
This is some Westworld level stuff right here.
It is some Westworld level stuff right here, yes. Other things that have happened that you've missed. Mac became Ghost Rider for a little while.
What?
So in the episode
Why?
right after Doctor Strange, Fitz and Coulson and Ghost Rider are all trapped in like this in-between area, in between dimensions.
The Upside Down, right?
Right. Because Morrow is pulling matter in from another dimension. It's a whole thing. Don't worry. You know the ghosts at the beginning of the story? Yeah. They weren't actually ghosts. They were trapped between dimensions.
Yeah, I think that was our theory anyway.
Right. Okay. So that's what's going on with the three of them. Ghost Rider decides, I'm not getting dragged into this other dimension, which is basically hell. And he decides, I've been there before. I'm good.
But not Thor's hell.
Not Thor's hell, a different dimensional hell.
Cool.
Ghost Rider decides, I'm good. Robbie, you go ahead. I'm going to go get vengeance. Jumps into Mac's body.
Classic Ghost Rider.
And yeah, so at the end of the episode, Robbie takes the spirit of vengeance back inside of him.
So wait, does Mac flame on?
Mac flames on once.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. With a shotgun axe. Yes.
Okay, I might just watch it for that episode, at the very least.
I mean, I'm trying to think. It's been a series of I would say that the last 4 to 5 episodes of this season were universally across the board really, really strong.
Does Daisy ever fix her problems with Skelegro?
Yes.
Stops popping those pills and finds a long-term solution?
She does. Fitz builds her new gauntlets for the last episode.
Okay. So that she can stop shattering her wrists every 5 seconds?
Yeah. By the end of this half season, Daisy is fully back on the team, which they took a little too long for that. I agree.
That was like my one thing. I was just like, okay, how long are we going to play this game? My guess was that somehow Ghost Rider was going to help in that.
I mean, I think him dying kind of helped because she realized she wanted to be where she belonged and with the team and all that stuff. So yeah, that's what's going on with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I'm okay.
Are you convinced?
I might have to just rewatch it up to the Mac becoming Ghost Rider thing and play it by ear from there.
Okay.
The last episode sounds incredible,
If you make it to that point, that's only 3 episodes ago. I think if you'll make it to that point, you'll be impressed enough that you'll want to continue.
Okay.
Because like I said, the last 4 or 5 episodes of the season so far are really, really solid.
Okay. The last episode sounds incredible, and I love that we're getting LMDs properly.
I mean, that is what the next half of the season is all about.
Okay.
We've got Ada. We've got LMD May. Who knows who else is an LMD?
We've got Dolores.
We got May.
We got some.
Maybe the Koenigs will come back.
Got some major accidental spoilers right there from Doug.
No, I didn't.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep. Westworld spoilers.
No, they were just Westworld characters. Got Ford, the Man in Black, Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Goofy.
All good people.
Tony, Rhodey, Happy, Sleepy, Sneezy.
Keep going.
Red, yellow, green, blue.
Those are just
Tito,
M&Ms.
Michael, Janet, Fonzie, Christmas, Hanukkah, Easter, Steelers, Patriots, Seahawks.
And
I'm
these
just
are
naming stuff.
coincidentally also the names of all the future half seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes, I can't wait. I
can't wait for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hanukkah. It'll be 8 episodes long, though. It's a really nice format to work in.
Aired on 8 consecutive nights.
I would actually watch that.
So would I. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hanukkah special? Absolutely.
If you're
I'm sure one of them is Jewish.
Somebody has to be. Mac? I don't know.
No, Mac's Christian.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
It's
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You picked the one openly religious character to speculate about his religion.
Fine, an LMD.
An LMD of Mac is Jewish. That's the only difference. The only difference between any of the characters and their LMDs are that their LMDs are Jewish.
Or just a different religion from him.
Yeah, just a different one.
You gotta have, like, some religion programmed in.
Right.
I don't even know what we're
Radcliffe
talking
just set the default to Jewish. What are we talking about? This is what happens when we talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but only one of us has watched it.
You were the one who did the list of things.
That's true. I didn't want to spoil Westworld, so I just started saying words.
I've been in that situation a lot, Doug. Just like, I'm just going to say words until you've forgotten what I said. Only I'm drawing more attention to the thing now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I will say, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I will definitely have to check back out.
And we encourage you to do the same.
He encourages you. I don't take my word for it. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. I rarely actually know what I'm talking about. Apparently it's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. today. Who knows what it's going to be tomorrow. But definitely we'll have to talk. If I do go forward and watch some episodes, we'll definitely have to talk about them.
Definitely. Sort
of have like a little catch up, where I am, what I'm thinking, whether or not I'm actually going to finish it. Because right now, if we're on a take it or leave it scale, I'm sort of in the leave it pile.
Fair enough. And I feel what you're saying, but I would say this season, I was kind of feeling the same way after season 3. But this season definitely got me firmly back into the take it category. And everybody, let us know what you think. Are you still watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Is it something that you want us to talk about more? Is it something that you don't care about and want us to talk about less?
What do you want to see from the LMDs then?
And what do you want to see from the LMDs? Exactly.
Because that could go a lot of different places.
Definitely. And we've seen a few of them in the trailer for the next half of the season. None of them look good.
How long is the break?
It starts back up sometime in January. We don't know exactly when.
Okay.
Which is a little concerning because it means we're going to get 14 episodes over 19 weeks-ish, depending on when it ends. So more breaks ahead, which is not fun, but, you know.
But at least it gives me some time to catch back
It gives you time to catch up.
Yeah.
Plenty of time to catch up now if you haven't already. So I encourage you to do so because it really is one of the shows on TV that I think is definitely worth checking out right now. Although, of course, I'm biased.
Yeah, I mean, although I think when you do a show like this, we're sort of biased towards a lot of Marvel properties.
We are,
anyway. If you haven't noticed already, we have a particular Marvel bent. We want them to succeed. We want them to do well. We tend to like DC Comics, but not DC movies. It tends to be a thing with us.
Just so I can say something positive about DC right now.
This is going to be a first on the show. Hold on, record the date.
Arrow this season, really, really good.
Is it?
I had completely given up on Arrow. Arrow's great this season. Flash is pretty good. Legends of Tomorrow's okay. I don't watch Supergirl, but it's fine.
I saw some of it and got real bored.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But the crossover between all 4 shows was awesome.
Okay.
And super excited for Young Justice Season 3. See, guys, I like DC.
That's why we keep him around.
Yeah.
He's our token DC fan.
Between the two of us?
Yeah. I like the DC Comics. I like, some of the cartoons from, like, the 90s.
Right.
And, like, early Justice League stuff. Like, Super Friends.
Well, we all love Super Friends.
Meanwhile, in the halls of justice. Yeah, it was just... That was my go-to as a kid.
And I can understand why. It's still, Adam West is still one of my favorite Batmen.
Yeah, please put him in something while we still have him.
He's in Brave and the Bold. No, not Brave and the Bold. Is it Brave and the Bold? No, Return of the Cape Crusader, which is the one with Adam West and Burt Ward returning to the voices.
Put it in the comments.
It's in the lower third now. Anytime I need to Google something later, I'll just put it in the lower third.
Good old lower third. It's getting us out of a lot of jams.
Absolutely.
And right now it's like, I quit. Do your own research.
So that's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, that is Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That is a lot of rambling as well.
It is, but that's okay, because that happens on this show. Especially when Nick's around.
Which is always usually.
Always usually.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely going to check it out. Hey, you guys check it out too. Maybe we'll have some discussion about previous episodes now.
Yeah, we could do a kind of overall discussion of the season once you finish watching it, or not, depending on if that's something that you guys want to see.
Yeah, if you guys want to see an episode where we talk all about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we can talk about this half season. I'd be more than willing to watch the entire thing just so we could have that discussion.
Sure, I mean, that's what we did for Luke Cage when that came out.
Yeah.
But Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. there just doesn't seem to be as popular, and so hopefully I've changed at least one mind about that today, whenever you're watching this.
Tomorrow.
You will not be watching this tomorrow.
But they could.
Because when they watch it, then it'll be there today.
Yes, but they could also watch it tomorrow after they watch it today.
That's going to do it for us, guys. Make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube. You're following us at the MCU Exchange on Twitter, at MCUExchange.com, and at MCU Exchange on Facebook. I think I got those right.
They're correct in the lower third. That's all that matters.
Thank you, lower third, for correcting my mistakes. Once again, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Doug Herring.
I'm Nick Fox.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye. My impressions are off the chain, Doug.
As always.
Here, name any person from the history of the world.
George Washington.
Perfect.
Next
one.
Napoleon. Perfect. King Tut. Genghis Khan. You're right. You can do any voice.